Okay, everybody. Hope everyone's doing well. Wishing you all a good day, a good evening, and welcoming you to today's Wednesday webinar titled, You're Getting It All Wrong, Understanding Search and SEO. Sounds like something my mother would have said. Getting it all wrong. It's going to be an action-packed 30 minutes of SEO and info and fun with our presenter today, Beth Kollick. But first, it's all about me. I'm Greg Mate. I'm a certified SEO instructor based in Montreal, Canada. I've been with the Academy teaching with the Academy since 2006. And they were kind enough to certify me in SEO in 2004. And I've been working in consulting and, of course, teaching SEO ever since. And having known Beth for years as a fellow instructor, as well as a fellow Search Engine Academy Board of Director member, I have no doubt this is going to be a great session for all of us. So we encourage you to ask questions. There's going to be plenty of time afterwards for some Q&A. Beth is also going to provide a link at the end of the presentation where you can download her slides. So let's talk about Beth. Beth Kollick is president of the Search Engine Academy in Dallas, Texas. She has over 20 years experience in marketing and technology. As a result, companies ranging from small to large enterprises continuously turn to Beth for advice on digital marketing best practices and strategies for reaching their target market. She treats every client like a real partner in her business. So her heart is for teaching and educating business owners to make the best choices for their online marketing. So without further ado, here's Beth.
Hey, I'm sure y'all been listening to me humbly respond to Greg's sweet introduction. Greg, thank you so much. I am working on broadcasting this with the screen and with me, as well as what you're going to see on my slide deck, because I personally love to do presentations where I'm with a group, which is one of the reasons I really believe in in-person training. So hopefully you can see my smiling face for this. Hopefully you can see my slides okay. Greg, how does it look on your end?
So far, so good over here. We do have the chat window if anybody wants to, or the question window if anybody wants to type thing in while you're going, or if anybody's having any trouble.
Super. Sounds great. Yeah, just be sure Greg's going to help out with that end of things while I start talking about our topic for today, which is understanding search. And let's see if we can get, you've got it all wrong. You're getting it all wrong. So basically, Greg's already given an introduction about me. I'm also a member of the Dallas-Fort Worth Search Engine Marketing Association, and I've done talks at Southern Methodist University, University of Texas at Dallas, Texas A&M University, which is where I went to school. And so I'm just have a real heart for teaching people, and always keep in mind that we offer a 20-minute consultation with anyone. So if you ever have any questions and want to connect with me for a complimentary 20-minute consultation, I'm happy to do that. So let's get started. How many of us here have been to an SEO seminar or an SEO webinar? I think I've been to them, Greg's been to them, we've all been to them. And with our friend here, we're just saying, you know, we've all been to all these different things to learn about SEO. And so what we're really trying to accomplish here is maybe do things in a little bit different way, take a little bit different view than most people have, because in the long run, what ends up happening is that we hear so many messages, we get really confused about how we could be doing things differently. So a lot of this is based on my personal philosophy. I've been teaching since 2012 through the Search Engine Academy, but I've had my internet marketing and digital marketing business since 2008. So I've seen a lot of businesses, both small and large, and they struggle with a lot of the same things. So hopefully we can find a way for us to work together and work through some of these things. And they're foundational things. They're things that are overlooked by people all the time. They're done incorrectly, and we'll talk about what I mean by that a little bit later in the presentation, but they're overlooked and done incorrectly, and it ends up really hurting their whole digital marketing strategy, not just SEO. You've got to get these things right before you can even move on to more advanced things. So what we're doing, we really are doing this, is we're setting a digital marketing foundation. And by doing certain things that may seem simple, but doing them correctly, it's going to help everything that we do online perform better, whether that's paid search or social or your content marketing strategy in general and SEO. So email marketing as well, any kind of marketing automation, all of that will perform better if we're looking at SEO in a little bit different way and these simple things that you can do that you're probably getting wrong. So since I started working in the digital marketing space in 2008, there's been a shift in people hearing the word SEO a little bit more and understanding what that means. But as I said in my pie chart here, you know, some people have some idea and some people have no clue. So there's still a lot of room for misconceptions, and particularly because SEO changes so quickly and people are chasing after that, which we'll talk about in a minute too. There's a lot of misconceptions that may be just older information that people are trying to chase after and do. So that's just kind of something to keep in mind when we go through this. So number one, before we even talk about SEO, before we even really talk about digital marketing, we need to talk about how we can be good marketers in general. This is the hard work. This is the work of figuring out what our customers are looking for. This is the work of having the right message and the right responses that we can give to what is really the reason that someone might want to do business with us. And I find that a lot of times people go, okay, well, there's the marketing and there's the digital marketing. So they're separate, or they're really siloed and they're considered as two separate things. But they're not. And we need to concentrate on being good marketers first. And when we do that, we end up doing a better job at our digital marketing than we ever could have seen before. So then when we have that perspective of being a good marketer first, then when it comes to the digital marketing piece, we want to put it in a format that, as I like to say, makes Google happy. And we do. We want to make Google happy. We want Google to be able to understand what it is that we're trying to communicate to our target market. And if Google can't interpret that, then there's no way from a search standpoint that they can serve up the right information so that you can be there when your customer or your potential customer has an issue or a problem. So the goal here isn't just to get more and more traffic to our website. The goal is to get relevant traffic. I mean, if you're going after a business-to-business market, but most of the visitors to your website are business-to-consumer, then there's a disconnect there. And people are not going to convert into a prospect or hopefully a client because you aren't writing your content or doing the other things that make Google happy or being a good marketer because you're not getting in front of the right people. So it's not just about more traffic, it's about how well that traffic is converting. So that's something to think about as we talk more specifically about some examples that I have in a minute. This is my hugest pet peeve of all of SEO, is that there's a lot of SEO companies out there that have this, it's really a sales philosophy, and it does resonate with someone that they're trying to make a sale with, that they say, oh, well, I'm going to make you #1 for Plumber Dallas or Dallas Plumber, and I guarantee that I'll do that. And I can understand where that comes from, where they're trying to make the sale and trying to show value to the business owner, but those involve tactics that are chasing the Google algorithm. And that's not what we want to do, because if we're constantly chasing after all the changes in Google, eventually something that we did in the past is going to put your business, or if you're a practitioner, it's going to put your client's business at risk. But if we do good marketing and we make Google happy, like what we were talking about, over time you are going to be seen as authoritative and relevant for a particular topic. And unlike John Cusack here, you're going to be in a much better position to be successful. And then you'll get to that #1 position and you'll hold on to it longer. So that's just a little something to think about there. And we've talked about this in many, you've probably heard this, it's very common now in our industry to talk about this, but SEO works together. You don't make the website and then hire the SEO person. The perfect time to bring in someone that knows about search is to bring them in at the beginning of a project. And you don't just have pay-per-click standing on its own and SEO standing on its own and your email marketing strategy or your content strategy. No, they really need to be all together. So thanks, Rob Loeb, for that. So some people in this webinar, and I say some companies in this room because I've given this presentation in person recently, but some people in this webinar maybe think they've got SEO, they've got it under control, just like Ron Burgundy. He's totally confident. He knows what he's doing. He's got this down. But the truth really is that you probably got it all wrong. And so we want to avoid getting where Ron is right now. We want to avoid doing that, at least to this extent. So what we're going to do first is talk about some of the challenges that people have and how they chase the Google algorithm. And let me give you some more concrete examples about that. First, we're going to talk about link signals, and that means incoming links to your website. Sometimes they're called backlinks. So you might have heard that, and oh, it's good to have a lot of backlinks. So when Google first started, they ever since then, they've been constantly updating what we like to call in the industry link signals. So at first it was the number of links, or how authoritative those links were. And there was a concept called PageRank that Google still uses, but they don't share with us anymore because people were chasing that algorithm. They were making pages that were falsely inflating the PageRank. So yeah, what did people do? They went out and got all these links, and they were false links. And then what ended up happening is that they got affected by an update of Google called Penguin. And Penguin is where they started giving a penalty to sites that had irrelevant links to them. And it was a penalty because Google could tell that you were artificially trying to boost your rankings. So then it had to, as part of that Penguin update, you had to have just the right backlink anchor text. And that means that the link that someone clicks on one site, the words in that link, that's the backlink or anchor text. And did they match the keywords you were trying to rank for? And if they matched too closely, now you could get hurt by the Penguin update. So then you had to change the anchor text. I'll have an example of this in a minute, to be something where it wasn't matching the keyword quite as much, because then it would hopefully not trigger this change that Google made with the algorithm. And then your link had to be on a relevant site. So not only did the link have to be just on an authoritative site, it had to be on a site that was similar to your industry. So all of these things are happening with link signals, and people keep chasing it. Then what's the content on the page that's referring to you? So do you have that information that's the same on your site as it is on another's? So here's an example on this particular screen. This is a plumber's website in the Dallas area, and this is a hidden page on his website. And he is participating, or the SEO company that he hired is participating in what we call a link network. And so if you'll notice, there's links to pet supply companies, there's links to things in Beijing, there's links to florists, and there's even links to a Toronto criminal lawyer, and he's a plumber in the Dallas area. So what was happening here is that someone was chasing after the Google algorithm, and they were putting this information on his site, but then he was getting links from other sites. And for a while it worked. For a while he was ranking higher. But what ended up happening is that this technique stops working after time, and then the company gets hit with a Penguin penalty, and they can drop in the rankings. They could even be completely removed from Google's rankings. And I've seen this happen to businesses, and it's decimated businesses. So why, we don't want to participate in anything that's about chasing that algorithm. We want everything to be relevant. If you get a link from someone, it should be because you had something relevant to say that's related to the readers of the other website, and they're going to link back to you because it's authoritative and relevant. Then content signals. So the content that's on your website, how can we set that up so that it, is going to get a certain ranking from Google? Well, people chased after that algorithm too. So at first they had keyword stuffing, And it had to change over to not putting all the keywords in there. You couldn't say Dallas plumber 7 times in a 200-word article. And Google came up with another penalty, another update to their algorithm, which was the Panda update. And so, people were trying to do the density of the keyword and measure all these things to try and keep up with Google. And then Google came out with another update called the Hummingbird update. And it was even more detailed. It said you don't have to have matchy-matchy keywords anymore, but is it about the same topic? So now people are like, is your web page talking about that topic? And all these other pieces of content that you've had in the past, and I'll have an example of that in a minute. All these other pages that you wrote in the past are no good anymore because you kept trying to chase after the Google algorithm instead of just being a good marketer. So you could be chasing after this your whole life. And that's the truth. From the beginning of your career to the end of your career, you could continually trying to keep up with all the little tricks that are going to make you get more traffic to your site instead of spending that time being a good marketer and really talking to your target audience. Looking at who's your ideal customer, what questions do they have. So we want to get away from that. And one of the things that surprised me as I put this together is here I am, an SEO person, and I'm advising organizations to quit thinking about it as SEO. That's not what we need to be doing here. We need to be speaking to our target audience with content that's part of a comprehensive marketing plan. So when you just see it as SEO, you see it as something that you just do to a site and then you go away. And that's not what we're trying to achieve. And then once you have that good marketing plan in place, make sure that your website isn't getting in the way, the technology of your website isn't getting in the way of Google understanding your content. Because a lot of times that happens. A web designer creates a beautiful website, but Google has trouble interpreting the words and information on that website. So that goes back to making Google happy. So here are some really concrete examples of businesses that I've worked with that have tried to do SEO, but it hasn't worked out so well for them. So the first example I have is someone who was trusting someone to take care of their blogging for them. And this lady has a moving company here in the Dallas area. And she had a blog on her website and was getting ready to redo her website. And when I took a look at the blog, I was actually in shock because they were so poorly written, and we'll see that in a minute. But basically I said, Francie, you're going to want to take a look at your blog posts, and a few of them are good, but most of them we want to get rid of. But I want you to review them first and let me know which ones you want to keep. And this was a quote directly from the next email that I got from her. Reading some 2015 blogs while I eat an apple, I quickly switched to vodka. Ouch. So what was happening on her blog? She had hired somebody who said it's a good idea to have a blog on your website. And so Francie, business owner, actually very reputable mover, has good referral business. And this is what she was getting. This is a post, and any of you who've been in the SEO industry will cringe at this. If you're in search of some sort of moving companies in Dallas, you can make best choice from long list available of moving companies working in the Dallas. I can't even read another word. It's too frightening. So that's one of the things that happens when you just chase after the algorithm instead of doing good marketing. And luckily, we're going to get this content off of her site. So on the other end of the spectrum, we have a marketing automation company that I'm working with. And they have a pretty vibrant blog. They blog, a couple of times a week at least, maybe more. But their issue is that they're kind of caught up in their own little world of marketing automation. And they're not taking the time to understand the problems of their target market. And at least from the standpoint of their content marketing, they're not feeding into that. Now, there may be other parts of their marketing they're doing it with, but their blog is really talking above the language of their target reader. So here, this particular one, 3 keys to effective interorganizational partnerships. For transformation to really take hold, the first step is to simply enable transformation to occur. I already lost me. This takes effective interorganizational partnerships based on a change agent mindset and a trusted, proven process. There are some people maybe that went to Harvard Business School that this would make sense to, but the people that they're trying to reach are just marketing people in medium to large size companies. And this kind of website blogging content is not going to resonate with them. It doesn't answer a question. It doesn't offer a solution. It's just almost like platitudes. So we want to do better than that. We want to do better for our target market than that. So then here's another example. So this is a car dealership who hired a company to do some SEO for them. And this is a part of their website where they have articles. And this is a whole list of articles about brake pads. But if you go into each one of these articles, if you click on the links, you'll notice that the content is almost identical, and the only thing that switches is the name of the car. So this is a duplicate content issue that can really get you in trouble with the Panda update from Google having to do with content. We don't want to go down this path. They're using old school information, and that car dealership could really be hurt by that. So we want to avoid these types of problems. What Google's really looking for is clarity and authority. So we have a website that with lots of information on it, and we want to put it in such a way that Google, who's getting smarter and smarter about understanding the content of your website and getting smarter about related keywords, and you don't always have to use the exact same keyword, we want to put it in a form that Google is really going to appreciate and understand. So the first part of that is quality and simplicity. You may want to have detailed information on your website about your products and services, but you need to also have basic, clear to understand information that's simple to read, and it also is easier for Google to interpret. Because now, if you have that type of information, then Google knows what your website is about. So when people are searching, they understand that your website and the other content that you put out, even in social, has the same topic as what somebody is looking for. If you use too many big words or too many complicated long sentences, it's harder for Google to understand that and to put you in their index where you need to be. The other thing is that Google is looking for depth of information. So they want to know that your web presence is authoritative. So it's not always about having another 500-word blog post that just regurgitates some information about, well, I was helping a home remodeler with this, about bathroom remodeling options and the things you can do to your cabinets. Now, that's moving maybe in the right direction, but we're not answering the question of our target market. So what we're going to try and do is have a combination of lengths of articles. Some that are short, maybe you're just referring off to another website that has interesting information, and some that are quite long because you want to show Google that you have a variety of authoritative information on your website. So another way to look at those two things is this chart right here. So at the top we have, this is a plumber's website. Plumbers are always a good example in the world of SEO. And he has services, drain cleaning, slab leaks, water heaters. And then underneath that, he has electric tank water heaters, gas tank water heaters, and tankless water heaters. This top and mid-level content is about specific products and services that you offer, and they're the text on them is very clear and very easy to understand, lots of white space, bulleted items, simple for anybody to navigate and understand what that plumber is about. Then there's the bottom level content, and that's our blog posts, or if you don't want to blog, it can be articles, but they're very specific to do with different types of topics having to do with a plumber. How to compare different types of water heaters, specific models of water heaters and why they're good and bad, tips for maintaining your water heaters. So that's authoritative content, and this is just a good simplistic example of that. but we want to build up this relevant, authoritative content over time. So this is where you're going to focus your ongoing efforts as far as like a content marketing plan would go. So that's just something to keep in mind when Google's looking for that authoritative and relevant content. That's really what they're looking for. And that in-depth content also tends to rank higher on Google as well. So the more you cover a topic, the higher it tends to rank, according to this particular chart that was from a survey that was done earlier this year. So here's another great example. I did a search in Dallas for dog-friendly restaurants Dallas, and one of the top listings was a website called Bring Fido, and it's actually about pet-friendly travel. But what they did is that they had a very well optimized and authoritative page on dog-friendly restaurants in Dallas. So even though this website is more broad, it's about pet-friendly travel, they had authoritative information about what I was searching for, so they came up high on the search results. So this is a really good strategy that this particular website has. And in the background, I'm sure all of this is optimized really well. And we're going to talk about that in just a minute. So what types of topics do you want to write about? Because oops, that's still there. We're going to talk about SEO Context Analyzer in a minute. Because no one wants just to hear about your business. So don't make all your blog posts about you. Please, dear God, do not make all of your blog posts, all of your articles, all of your content about you. It should be about real problems that your clients are having. So in the case of Bring Fido, what they did is they thought laterally and vertically. So that's a dog-friendly travel site or a pet-friendly travel site talks about other pet and dog-friendly things. So they're about dog-friendly travel, but they're talking about dog-friendly restaurants. Then they think you can also think vertically, which is other topics related to dogs, such as the right pet food, or a special collar, or a dog crate, or the best dog crate to choose. So you can use this example in whatever industry you're in, but it's thinking laterally and vertically about real questions that people have, and that will help your site look more authoritative to Google and to, most importantly, to your end user, because it's really what your website should be all about. So now we've talked about some of that content piece, but we want to, and that's about being a real marketer. But now we want to talk about making Google happy, and that's why on-page optimization is so incredibly important. We want to optimize our page, and I'll have a link to this handout in a minute that's all about the perfect SEO page. We want to make it as easy as possible for Google to understand what the information is on that page. So these are just a few elements that if you've been to an SEO seminar or webinar before, you probably heard about these things. But if you have any clarification questions, please ask questions at the end of this, because I don't like for it just to be me talking. I really love it when everybody asks questions. So the title tag, it doesn't always have to matchy-match. So here's the Bring Fido one, and it does say dog-friendly restaurants in Dallas. But here, in the top 4 results is top 10 patios to chill out with your pooch. And I love that because it doesn't say dog-friendly anywhere in the title tag, yet it's still ranking very high on Google. And that's because it's relevant. But it's about that topic, and so that is why it's ranking well. And then, of course, Dallas Observer is a more authoritative website as well. The meta description, that is time for your sales pitch. The meta description is the text that appears underneath the link to your website and your title tag that appears on the search engine results. And if it doesn't include the topic, Google may replace it. So actually on the website, they defined the meta description in the background code. It defined it with this sentence. But Google just picked whatever sentence had the word dog-friendly in it. So you want to make sure you have your keywords in it so that Google will be more likely to include it. But you also want a sales pitch, like a little something that's going to sell why someone should come and visit your site. Want to find out the list of dog-friendly restaurants? Click here for more details. So that entices somebody to make that next action to come to your website. Header tags. So a header tag is usually where in the background code they define this headline here as a specific HTML code, which is H1 for a headline and H2 for subheads. If you don't know about this, ask your website developer. What ends up happening is that website developers are very frequently just take this text and make it bold and don't take the time to really tag it as an H1. And yes, Google can figure it out. It's not a deal breaker. But why wouldn't you take the extra step to make it easier for Google? I mean, it's a no-brainer. So it's right there. You can totally do that. And I used Yelp as an example for a reason. So in the digital marketing world, a lot of us really don't like Yelp because they tend to have a real strong sales force that sells their services. You don't get a lot of return on investment, but their websites do tend to rank very high for local searches. And people go, what are they doing? Are they paying Google? Is that why they're ranking higher? And the answer is no. The answer is that they have a website that is dynamic and authoritative and continually being updated with user-generated content. So, and on every little aspect that they possibly can, they're optimizing it for on-page optimization. So I can 100% guarantee you that this right here is an H1 tag on Yelp. So why wouldn't we do the little things that can help move the needle just that further into Google understanding what it is we're writing about? So here's an example about images. So this client of mine I worked with about 2.5 years ago, and we, instead of just taking the image off of his camera and putting it on his website, we took the image and renamed it before we added it to his website. So a lot of more sophisticated consumers are now doing image searches in Google. And so they did an image search on Iron Gate Repair Plano, and his website still appears at the top. Now, that may be a very specific, Plano's a suburb of Dallas, and that may be a very specific search, but do you think that person might be ready to get some help with their Iron Gate if they're doing searching on that specific of a keyword? That's a very likely keyword to convert into a customer. And right here, the client's website is showing up very, very high, and it helps them get that exposure that they need. So the content of your website, this is where I was going to talk about SEO Context Analyzer. This particular tool was originally written by Michael Marshall, who is unfortunately not with us anymore, but he was a leading member of the Search Engine Academy team and really a brilliant man and a wonderful mentor. But he was working on this particular tool, and what it did is, let's just take the top 10 results in Google for any keyword phrase. So in this case, it was replacement Windows Dallas. And it looked at all of the words on every page that was in the top 10 results. And it showed the most likely words to be on all 10 of those pages. And then it'll analyze that page and your page. So here's my client's website, and it'll tell me if those words are on my client's website. So it's really a nifty little tool, and it's something that you can find at SEOcontextanalyzer.com. It's very affordable, and it's a one-time purchase, and all of the proceeds go to benefit Michael's family. So that's something, if you want to do a good deed for today, you might go over and check that out. So I really recommend this tool. It's simple, but it does give you some really powerful information about how to use words that other people are using and that Google finds relevant on your page. Then just good old internal linking of content. So many people miss the mark with this. They create blog posts and they don't connect and link their blog posts to relevant pages on their website. And that interlinking of pages will help Google understand what your site is about, because now with its sophisticated algorithm, it can see the relationship between pages And that all helps explain to Google what your website is all about, and make sure that you get ranked for the pieces of content that you really want to. Because the goal is for us to make Google happy. It's to make it easy as possible for Google to understand what our content is about. Now that we've written great content, then we make sure that our website doesn't get in the way. And we do want to make Google happy. And then I wanted to kind of wrap it up with this graphic. And if you know what movie this came from, then you're my new best friend. But my favorite line in this movie is that Keira Knightley's character says that she is incandescently happy. I believe that's right. And I just absolutely love this movie, and I thought that it would be fun to kind of wrap it up with that. If you would like to download a guide to the perfect page, then you can go to this shortened link right here, and you don't have to put the HTTP in front of it, but bit.ly, and make sure and capitalize perfect page, because capitalization with the bit.ly tool does matter. And you can go there and download the guide to the perfect page and get an idea of some good suggestions for your website to help Google understand what your pages are about. So take a look at that. And if you would like to see a copy of this presentation, this is the bit.ly link for that as well. So and it's actually on SlideShare. So if you want to go to that link, you can download it. And if you have any other questions, let me know. And I am sure that that Greg, our wonderful moderator, is going to field any questions that we have from the webinar.
Hey, Beth, nice job. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention for the last little bit. I was eating birthday cake. But
oh, that's right. Happy birthday to you.
Who?
Happy birthday to you.
Me.
Happy birthday, dear Greg.
Thanks, Beth.
Happy birthday to you.
Woohoo!
And many more.
Oh, outstanding. Beth, that was awesome. I love the content and I love the GIFs. I'm not sure whether the one of the guy chasing algorithms on that steel beam or the guy falling asleep when people were just talking endlessly and needlessly about their business were my favorite. But they're two.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Two beauties. So we have some questions.
Great.
We have one here that is, so would you say the best SEO is simply organic, natural writing?
I would say yes. That's always everything in SEO is based on the written word. And I think a lot of people don't take it seriously enough. And so first off, why are you writing? Who are you writing to? What are their problems and concerns? And then that writing will resonate with people that are in your target market. So yes, I think SEO is the biggest part of SEO is always going to be your content.
Excellent. I have another one here. Actually, there's a couple that kind of go together. Why are meta descriptions so important?
Oh my goodness. Well, meta descriptions allow you to make that extra little sales pitch, and sometimes people don't even take the time to put it in there. And Google is going to put something in that spot. And so sometimes they'll swap out a sentence even if you've defined the meta description. But if you don't put a meta description in at all, then when someone puts when someone's searching, they're just getting a little random snippet of your article. And why wouldn't you take advantage of that and have an actual call to action in your meta description? Because that may be the one extra thing that gets someone to click on your link as opposed to someone else's, even if you rank number 2 or number 3.
Yeah, I mean, to me, the descriptions are so important that Google will take its efforts and its computers, however you want to call it, and change your description for you,
right?
Your meta description, hoping that's going to help someone click on your listing.
Right.
So to me, that really shows how much Google thinks it's important if they're trying to help you out with that.
That's a very good point. That's great.
So another question is, why are some words in the organic listings in bold? And I think we saw that in one of your slides of the SERPs.
We did. Now I can see if I could find that again. Let's see if I can get it to push to do this.
There we go.
This would be a good example of that.
Yeah.
So I typed, my search term was dog-friendly restaurants Dallas. And what Google does is whatever your search term is, they bold those words in the search results page if they're in the listing that appears. So here I typed in dog-friendly restaurants Dallas, so dog-friendly is bold, restaurants is bold, and Dallas is bold. Here's restaurant again. It's not restaurants, but it's closed, so it's going to bold it again. So that's where that comes from.
So that's, again, another example of Google trying to point out to people how relevant this is to you. And we have, I think, a comment on the question you answered about the best SEO is simply organic natural writing. Someone added with a focus. So it's kind of what you talked about earlier with your the topic and how everything is topic related and tying things together and linking to show what that focus is.
That's right.
Cool. Well, I think that's all our questions for the day. In case anybody's interested, did you give out the link or tell them how to get that SEO context analyzer?
Sure. Let me see. I'll pull it up again. It's pretty easy. It's just SEOcontextanalyzer.com.
Okay. And that, oh yeah, there it is at the bottom. And it's with an S, because up here in Canada we have spelled analyzer with excuse me, it's with a Z. We spell it with an S.
Oh, what's a Z?
A Z.
Oh, I know. I always like to give my Canadian friends a little hard time.
Oh, I see. You'll wait till the end to give me a hard time.
Yeah, well, of course. So, yeah, this is a great tool, and it's not a lot of people know about it. It's kind of a hidden gem. So I can't remember the price of it, but it's very, very reasonable.
Yeah, I think it's, you can try it for $1 for 7 days, and it's $77 or something for a lifetime subscription, and it's nice. Of course, during the course, we really show you how to take full advantage of it.
That's awesome.
All right.
Well, with that, thank you guys so much. And I'll, Greg, I'll finish up by closing out the webinar with just a thank you to everybody that attended. And we're so glad you could make it today. And again, reach out to me if you have any questions. That's my Twitter handle. I'm trying to think. Oh, there's my email address at beth@seotrainingdallas.com. You can also reach me at beth@searchengineacademytexas.com. Either way, both of them work. So thanks so much for everybody's attention today, and have a great rest of the week.
Cool. Thanks, Beth. Cheers, everyone.
All right. Talk to you later, Greg. Bye-bye.
Bye.